Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sunday Happy Sunday. This is episode Doing Work Your Heart Can't Say No to. This episode is for the girl bosses and wannabe girl bosses who have a dream or a vision or a killer idea that they know they'll rock, but they just kind of feel trapped doing the same old, same old. So I've invited Kristen Horner Da Silva to talk to me about when 15 years working in HR and sales and marketing and decide to just switch it up and become an award-winning playwright and actor. But before I introduce you to Kristen, I am doing this on Be Live, so share it with anybody who might like to see it. Also, if you're a girl boss or a wannabe girl boss, join my private Facebook group, Lips Live Your Purpose Sister, and get some motivation to move forward. So let me tell you a little bit about Kristen. She is, like I said, an award-winning playwright and actor. She's written 6 plays, Book Club, which I've seen and loved, 5 Alarm, which I know about, Gibson and Sons, which I just saw. It's super funny, clever, witty, interesting, and it's the winner of the 2016 Stage West Patchett Family Comedy Award. She's also written Jack's Lake, the Sunny Side, and I bet she's got more up her sleeve. And so I am delighted to introduce you to Kristen. Welcome, Kristen.
Thanks, Vicki.
I have known you for 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
Can you believe that?
No.
We met first year university.
Yeah, we did. Yep, that's right. Improv.
That was crazy. Yeah, first year with Fred Turi, we had to do improv. I don't actually remember signing up for improv. I feel like
I didn't sign up.
No, Fred just forced us to be in an improv troupe where we're going to perform every Thursday night in front of strangers.
He literally, this was my conversation. He came up to me. He was my prof. I think you were in that class too, the acting class.
We were in the same acting class.
Okay, so he came up after class one day, and he was notoriously stern and mean and scary. And I thought he was me out of his class. And he said, "You are kind of funny. You should be, not you should, you are going to be in my improv company. Come at lunch." It was 3 hours later, come at lunch to audition.
Yeah.
And they had been performing already together for a couple of months. So
exactly.
Thrust in.
I remember I don't even remember him saying come to an audition, or if we went to an audition, there was no audition. We were just in.
Yeah.
That was fun. It was crazy. And do you remember the first time we got up on stage? It was you and me together.
I do. That was awesome.
You got to tell the story. You have to.
Okay. So, I don't remember what the sketch was about anymore, but there was this sketch called Gambino that we rehearsed. I don't remember how much rehearsal time we got before he put us in a live performance. Do you? Was it a week? A few days? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. A week.
A week. So we'd been rehearsing this sketch for a week, and we were scheduled as part of the set list to do this Gambino sketch as our inaugural sketch as the newbies. And so I was I know the sketch, I know how it goes, got it like the back of my hand. And we went on stage, and everyone else in the sketch was in on this joke where they were going to do a completely different sketch. And you were awesome because you were like, "This is great. I love this." And I was like,
what the hell is happening? No, I remember the look on your face because I, like you said, we got up on stage, we knew what we were supposed to be talking about, but it switched completely. And so I didn't even really notice. And you were devastated.
I was horrified.
That is so crazy.
I'd never done improv. I had done some school plays and stuff. So in my brain at that point, you script these things and rehearse them, and then you do them exactly the way you learn them. And then we got there. And also, I was so intimidated by all the people who were in the company. Like, they were the smartest, funniest students, and they were older and like cooler. And I came from this farming town, and like York was already really bewildering. And then I got thrust into this improv company with these like really cool, funny kids. And I was like, why am I here? And then they did this prank, and it broke my brain. It was a really, I still have nightmares. I, like 20 years later, have nightmares about getting on stage and I don't know what's happening, and I don't know any of my lines, and I don't know what play I'm in, and that was terrible. That wasn't
and you know what? Like I was saying, I think a lot of people, if they had an experience that then caused them nightmares, they probably stopped doing that thing.
Fair enough. Not me.
Not you. So that is so awesome. Oh my gosh. So you continued with the acting, you continued with the writing, but like, did you just go straight into acting and writing, or what happened like after university, after the improv troupe?
Well, I stayed in the improv. I was in the company, like, I think at least 3 years of my university life I was there. And then I might have been there 4 years. And I did other shows with them. And then I started writing. Fred Turry had a one-act playwriting competition, and I entered that one year. And so I got to see something I'd written produced. And that was probably the moment where I like, oh, that's a really fun feeling. Like, I really enjoyed watching what I had written on stage. But I didn't keep writing. Like, I wasn't consistent. I wasn't like, this is what, because I was, I'm still doing university. I'm trying to graduate. Then I went back to school.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I bent on getting a traditional job and a lot of our friends who did improv went into comedy or went into acting.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. I didn't have the guts. I was too, I never wanted to live hand to mouth. So
okay.
I went into HR is what I did. And I was there for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you stayed there for 15 years, right?
Yeah, almost 15. And I did acting, but because I was working full time, I was doing some community stuff and, things here or there, but it was never my full-time gig ever. Until now. And because I remember there was this summer that we were working in like a comedy troupe called Performance Anxiety, but like I had an opportunity to go and like get a call center job at Amex that was going to pay me money, like regular cash. So I was like, I was like, sorry guys, can't do the acting thing anymore. Time to get serious. Time to get serious about life. You know what I mean? Well, yeah, because it's scary. Like you don't at that point, I had no money. My parents had paid my way through university, and after that, I was broke. Like I remember in fourth year being so broke that I would like ration my food.
Like, I remember that. I took up oatmeal and toast. I hate oatmeal.
I remember that the pub in Bannay had these massive bagels. They were this big, and it was $1 for a bagel. And that was breakfast and lunch, and probably Sunday dinner. Like I didn't have a cent to my name. So at that time, I really didn't have any I was very insecure about the idea of going into a career which is just known to be really difficult to make a living at.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. It's scary
totally.
To do it. Yeah. And so then, we both kind of, at this point, went on the same kind of way, went the sort of corporate route.
Yeah.
Right? The steady paycheck. And then what happened? Like,
what happened? I had no intention. I think I always had this sort of, no, you know what? I didn't even entertain a daydream that I would ever be doing anything related to theater full time, ever. I think I had a daydream that I would be self-employed at some point. That, like, I always wanted that. I always sort of fantasize about, like, maybe I'll figure out something that I love to do that makes money, like, I don't know what, open a bookstore or something. I had that dream. But I didn't indulge in it very much. Like I was still really practical about, I had a great job. Like I worked at a great company and they had great benefits and good pay. And that's really hard to leave. So
yes, Yep. And a lot of people are feeling that way, Kristen. It's like that comfort that you don't want to let go of the comfort, right?
Yeah. And I mean, we were in a position, like, I won't name the company, but it's a good company. There was a lot of opportunity internally. So I never really got bored with what I was working on. I was very challenged. But then I reached a point where I stopped being challenged. Like you climb into a point where you're now, and there's only so many bigger positions. And I don't know if I ever wanted to be an executive of any kind. Like I didn't have aspirations to be a VP or what, that just wasn't my bag. So I got to this point where I could no longer be mentally stimulated by the work I was doing. And at the same time, I was on mat leave. I had my third child and I was on mat leave with him, and I was doing a show in Oakville, and it was a comedy. And, I was like, I feel like I could do this. Like, I feel like I could write something that would be producible. Right. So I went home, and the next morning I opened a Word document, and I actually didn't even have a computer with a word processing program on it. I had a Mac with no word. So I went on Google Docs, and I wrote a book club on Google Docs.
That was your first book. You wrote book club.
Yeah.
Which was amazing. I loved that play so much. I love your plays. Because I love your style of writing. I think you're really witty and clever.
Oh, you're so sweet.
You have like these little punches, and I just love it.
Thanks, Vicky. So yeah, that's what I did, and I wrote it, and I don't even think I intended to show it to anybody in the beginning. And then I have a lot of actor friends. I showed it to one friend, and he read it, and he also had a writing background and he did treatments for screenplays and stuff at that time. So I showed it to him, kind of like, what do you think of this? And he encouraged me a lot to show it to more people, which I was terrified to do, to be honest with you. And I think it was his idea. I'm not 100% sure. I think it was his idea to get together with some people and read it, like out loud. And that was the first table read. And I called up old improv friends from the people that I met doing improv in university, and I asked them to come over. So it was, people, Rick and Esther and those guys, and we got together and read it. And I was like, it was the most terrified I've ever felt.
But so I mean, it is terrifying because you're doing something brand new, but like, what's the thing that makes you do it anyway?
Oh, it's so fulfilling. It's so amazing I can't even put it into words what it feels like. I'm a mother, so I suppose my closest analogy would be watching your kid do something independent of you. Like watching the moment where your kid has a life that you didn't necessarily build for them. So when you go and see your kid interacting with their friends or at a sport and they've grown these skills on their own, and like it's like that. It's like you write this thing and put it out there, and then it becomes this 3-dimensional thing, and
but what was, I mean, it is, it's like, what?
I can't even.
I'm not a mother, so I'm like, I'm not even sure if I've had that feeling yet, but like, what is it, like that first time where you had to sit down, where that guy was like, the guy that you'd shown the play to, it like, okay, we have to do this, we've got to do a reading, and you're terrified. Like, what makes you take that first step?
The safety of the people. So I had people that I felt safe showing it to.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I had people that I knew, even if it wasn't good at all, would make that okay for me, Yeah. I think even then I read it and it made me laugh. And so I thought, if it makes me laugh, it'll probably make a couple other people laugh, right? Like somebody will share my sense of humor. So
absolutely.
I had some confidence because I found it amusing. So I was terrified to show them, but I also sort of just knew in my heart that no matter what happened that night, it was going to be okay. Like, these are friends. It could have been a piece of garbage. They would never have made me feel bad about that. And we would never have had to speak about it again. We would just have forgotten it. So that first step was so difficult, but so important, because those people were the ones that got the momentum going. Like, they were the ones pushing me to take it somewhere else. And if they hadn't done that, I'm not sure I would have ever taken it out of the drawer. I think it would have just been my thing that I did for myself. And those people got in on it. And this is what the neat thing about the writing I do, which is for theater and which is so collaborative, is that actors will will really get attached to something and own it. Like, they'll, like, Rick played this part in Book Club Hostler and from the very first read, and he owned that character. He felt some ownership for that character being born into the world, and so he was pushing, let's do this. I want him to live. And so you have all these people who suddenly are on your project, and it's just as much their project as it's your project. So
absolutely,
there's a lot of energy behind it.
Yeah, totally. And it's like your work is like inspiring and fueling like all these other actions and like thoughts and feelings, and
it's crazy. Like, it's crazy. And I think about it, and I think, one of the things that I love thinking about is, like, I've met people doing theater that have become lifelong friends. And so somebody wrote whatever play that was we did together, and then that play being in existence meant that we met and forged these relationships which have changed my life and have changed those people's lives. And some, like Rick and Esther met, had kids, and like, it brings people together. And I really get jazzed about what that is. So
it's awesome. And like, so I mean, at this point where you've got this first play, you're on mat leave, you're doing the reading for your first ever play, scared as poop, you do it, feels great. Are you still working at this point?
Oh no, I left last May.
No, I mean, when you are on. Sorry, I'm just.
Oh, when I was writing book club and all that.
Yeah.
I was still working then. Yeah.
And like, so what was that like? Working and doing the thing that you've discovered is like setting your soul on fire.
That was when things got hard. Because after that happened, and I finally connected the dots. Oh, like, cause I always had this nagging, you need to write something, you need to be a writer feeling since I recall being alive. And right. I never really figured out until then that's what I was meant to write. So I had these frustrated experiences where I was trying to write novels and short stories, and that wasn't my thing. But I'd always loved theater, and I never connected the two. I never made the very short mental leap to why wouldn't I write for the theater for some reason, and that didn't happen until my 30s. And so then I wrote it, and I was like, oh, well, hello, like that's what. So once I made that realization, it became so hard to get up every day and go do something else with my time.
Yeah, right. That's exactly, yeah. And like you said, like that's a process that happened. Like, you took the step, you started to do something. And that's what I'm often saying to people, like, just try something. Yes. You can't lose, try something, because you tried writing novels and it didn't work. At least you can know, like, I still need to write novels. So you try something else, and then you find your thing. But like, just keep doing something and trying something until you find your thing. Like, does that make sense?
Oh, totally. Especially if you have a voice inside you saying, this is a part of who you are. This is a part of what you're here to do. And if you have that voice about anything and have not been able to figure out how or what exactly in which way, like, I had that voice. You were meant to do, you're meant to write, and you're meant to do theater, acting as your thing. Like, these are your things, but I never was able to put them in an order that made any sense in the real world. Until, that just all sort of happened. And I mean, looking back, it's funny because I think, how did that take you 36 or 7 years to figure out? Like, that really should have happened way earlier, but maybe it's just a right time, right place. Like, all of a sudden I was in a position to actually do something about it.
Well, that's what I always say, like wherever you are right now, where we feel like, oh, we missed an opportunity, but there's always opportunities there, and you always, of course, want to pay attention to the present moment, but you
Yes.
are composed of all of your past moments. All of those times where there's you information about what's the next move to make, or what choices to make. So it's like you're never really in the wrong place.
No, I agree. I think I don't know if I believe in fate. I still haven't figured out for myself whether I believe in that, but there's enough things that happened in my life that changed the course of where I was headed that I believe at least that the universe makes sense to, sometimes like the universe lays tracks out, and I don't think there's only one we can take, but even as something as small as that day when Fred pulled me aside after class and said, "You're going to be in my improv company," that was a huge, I didn't know it at the time, but that changed the trajectory of my life completely, because I had planned not to keep doing theater. I went to school for political science and labor studies, and I had planned to be an academic and focus on that and not get distracted by, doing plays and doing improv and comedy. That, like, I had decided that had no place in my grown-up life. That was the thing.
And that's what is now what it is, Kristen. It's sort of like, what is the grown-up life? And like, what should I do to fit into that grown-up life? Like, what should I do to fit into that grown-up life? I should finish my political science degree. I should go get a job at this place that pays this certain amount of money, hurry up and get married, have the babies, and then everybody else can be proud that I'm a grown-up.
Yep.
And that's what happens when you say, what should I do? But then when you stop and you ask yourself, what do I want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like, well, I want to write.
Yeah. And maybe, I think the reason why it came to me at this stage in life was because you achieve these things, like these 1, 2, 3 things you're supposed to do: get a job, buy a house, have children, all that stuff. You achieve those things and you think you're going to arrive at a state of happiness at some point. Like, I'm going to feel complete and satisfied at some point if I do all these things. Like, it's a video game that you're like, do the slay the dragon, get the princess, and then you're happy. But life's not like that. And some people, like, for people whose calling is family, is their passion and calling, and that's completely legit. And those people arrive probably at some happiness doing that and go, I'm satisfied. I never got there. I loved it. I'm so like passionate about my kids. I love them.
Yeah.
But there was still this empty box, like, over here, where I kept thinking, what's missing? What's the piece that I can't figure out? And I didn't figure it out until a few years ago.
And it's awesome that you figured it out a few years ago, because like, you're making the world happier. Your plays are great. It was so good.
I mean, how many people can say that, right? So, yay.
Sorry.
I was saying, like, when you describe what do you do in your day-to-day life, I used to struggle to think, okay, so I'm making my company money, but what am I doing for anyone else?
Yeah.
So
but now you are.
I describe what I'm doing as making people happy. There you go.
Yeah, I think, because this is what I believe, Kristen, and it's that everybody has their place. Not their place. Everybody has their spot.
Right.
And your spot could be anything. Like, obviously, your spot is writing, right? Your spot could be being a doctor. Your spot could be CEO of a company. Your spot could be like, volunteer work to help somebody in some disadvantaged place. But you have to figure out like who you are so that you can get into the world will, like, that's how the gears shift when everybody gets their place. And so it's kind of crazy when you look around and you see that like everybody's trying to get into the same spot.
It's true.
right? Like that to me, it's a clear explanation about why the world's not quite working as amazing as it could work. Everybody's
Right.
looking for the money and get into the spot. But
Yep.
like, I mean, you know it, like you have real responsibilities, right? Like when you're working at that company and in HR or marketing, like you've got a house, you've got kids, you've got bills, you've got like investments or whatever. And it's like, how do you decide that your happiness is is like getting into your oh, we stopped hearing you.
Yeah, I just stopped I didn't catch the last part of that question.
Like how do you decide? Because it's a scary thing when you've got all these responsibilities. Like how do you decide to take a chance?
Oh, I see.
It's not,
Yeah. It's tough, right? Like I was in a financial position where I could, and that isn't going to be true all the time. So
yeah.
it's a tough thing to make a broad statement about. For me, I had built, a life. I had built a life where I had financial stability, I had savings. I'm in a dual income household, and these things were in place so that I could take a calculated risk,
Yeah.
And I also didn't leave until, because the writing and the experience of that is one thing. The making money doing it is another thing. So I had to wait until I was in a position where I had some traction professionally,
Yes.
and enough that I made this kind of deal with myself and my husband that I'm going to give this a really good earnest go for a few years and see if I can get it to take off. And if not, then the jobs are still going to be there. Maybe, there will be jobs. I will be able to I'm employable. So I could go back at some point to a traditional job or an office job at some point if I had to.
Yeah.
So that's how we arrived at the decision.
That's great.
If I hadn't had a partner or I didn't have savings, I don't know that I would have had the guts.
Well, you don't know that you don't know that you wouldn't have had the guts, but at the end of the day, it's not like it's not like, oh, the Wi-Fi is just terrible, but it's not like you just up and left. You actually did have a plan, and you had gotten a little bit of traction, and you tested it out first. It's not like you just took a chance and put your backpack on and left to another country. And, you know what I mean? Like. Yeah, it was a calculated decision on your part, but the way I see it, and you can tell me how you feel, it was a calculated decision on your part, but there's like a buildup of momentum throughout your life actually that leads you to this place. It wasn't just like all of a sudden you didn't know anybody in acting, you didn't have any contacts, but it was a buildup, and even if it wasn't a conscious buildup, it was still bringing you to where you were, which possible.
Right. 100%. That's absolutely true.
Yeah. And that's why I'm always like, just get started, because getting started is what gives you the contact. It gives you the momentum, and it puts you into the right vibration so that you can make some moves.
Yeah, I agree. Also, say yes to things, because there's a lot of things that I didn't initiate that took me on this path. And if I had said no to any of them, I, wouldn't have gotten there. So try some stuff, say yes. And there's times you'll regret saying yes, but there's times you won't. There's times those things will be great and will bring new people into your life.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh. That was actually my next question. Like, do you have any regrets?
About, having made the change, or in general?
Yeah. No.
How long?
Well, maybe we could have a whole different episode called regrets. About making a change.
No, I do not have any regrets. I don't. I have no regrets. There's times I get very anxious about the finances, and it's a huge lifestyle change. Frankly, my husband and I were both in really, we were both making very solid money. So we were living a lifestyle for a long time that, you know, money was not a concern. We had lots of stuff. We had, you know, we had vacations, we had all the things. And
yeah,
I don't miss those things necessarily, but I do worry. I worry about what if his job, something happened, or what if the kid, you know, one of us got sick, or, you know, those are the things that, because like as grown-ups, we worry about that stuff. So
yeah,
but that's not regret. That's just a, you know, that's just a fact of life, I think, is it's just being, it's acknowledging that there could be some consequences to giving up the security of, you know, a full-time job that has a steady paycheck. But I don't regret it.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, that's so fantastic. I mean, like, what keeps you inspired? What keeps you going?
I have a lot of ideas, and I go places and talk to people and get more ideas. So I just keep going because I love it. I love sitting down to write, and I love watching what I'm writing being worked on by others, and I just keep getting ideas. So I am inspired to keep writing until I'm out of those.
Awesome. That is so good. Oh my gosh. This was such a good interview. I know the Wi-Fi was
A little
choppy.
bit. Yeah, a little bit.
We'll see. We'll see how
thank
you so.
It was my pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much for coming. No, this is really good. This is like, you're really good. Life. I mean, the whole being in corporate, having the family, like having something in your heart that you know you need to do, and an idea and a desire. Like, there are so many women out there who are in this position and too scared to make just the first step. And you don't need to know like the end result. Just take one step and see where it will lead you. And you're a perfect example of that. And thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure. It's fun.
Before you go, like, are you working on anything that you want to share? I would just put you on the spot there.
I have.
Anything you want to big up, like anything you want to promote?
I have a couple of shows coming up this summer if people want to check out what I've done. I've got a play called 5 Alarm, which is opening in Port Stanley at the Port Stanley Festival Theatre. And that's in July, towards the end of July. All the dates and info is on my website, which is KristenDaSilva.com. And
perfect.
I have that, and then that same show, actually, 5 Alarm, is going to have a second production at Lighthouse Festival Theatre in Port Dover. And in the fall, I have a show called Sugar Road, which is premiering at Theatre Orangeville in October.
Oh, wonderful. And I'm just, oh my gosh, did I get this right? I'm typed in KristenDaSilva.com.
Yeah.
Did it come up?
Yeah. That's it. So
okay, it showed?
It's showing on mine. Yeah. And
okay, good. It's not showing online, but as long as.
I update that with all the dates and stuff and links to where you buy tickets for upcoming shows. And there's info on plays on there. And scenes and stuff are up there. So that's where I try to keep people up to date on what's happening with me. I also have a show. Jack's Lake is having a production in South Carolina in the fall as well. I forgot about that one. So our U.S. watchers.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's so amazing. Well, I encourage everybody to go out wherever you're close to, whether you're in Port Stanley or in America. Oh my gosh. Where did you say? Where was it in the States again?
It's in South Carolina.
Whether you're in South Carolina or Port Stanley. Yes, I encourage you to check out Kristen's plays because they're really funny. She's really witty, and the plays are they're really great. So thanks again, Kristen, for coming on, and I'm going to talk with you soon. And everybody, if you like this video, share it. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with the girl bosses that you know who are ready to make a change. Till next time, everyone. Peace.